My name is Ali, and I live in Sudan. I've been wanting to share this story for a long time. I'm the second oldest of my siblings after my sister, who is 18. I'm 17 years old. My story happened when I was 11 years old. We were a normal family. My mom was pregnant at that time. After 9 months of pregnancy, my mom gave birth to my new sister, and I rushed to the hospital to see her. She was really cute. Unfortunately, my dad couldn't see her in person, but I did a video call. He was working in another country. My dad cried with joy when he saw her. After my mom got treatment, the neighbors were waiting for her to congratulate her, and my mom's brother, my uncle, was staying with us. During the celebration party, this old lady suddenly approached my mom and congratulated her. My mom was surprised at first, but said thank you without really thinking very much. Later, all the family members ate dinner at night and went to bed after about 10 p.m., but I woke up suddenly at 3 a.m. because I wanted to use the bathroom. As I was walking to the bathroom, I saw a silhouette of someone in my mom's room. I didn't think much of it because, well, I thought maybe my uncle was checking on us. Then, as I was leaving the bathroom, I saw something shocking. My uncle was throwing someone on the floor, punching them. He was yelling at me to go to my room and not come out. A few minutes later, I heard police sirens, and I could hear them and my uncle talking, but I couldn't hear them very clearly. After the police left, my uncle told us to go back to sleep. The next morning, I asked my uncle what had happened yesterday. He said something shocking. He said that when he went to the kitchen to get some water, he saw a man kidnapping my newborn baby sister. My uncle got angry and quickly ran to the man, hitting him, grabbing my sister. The man ran to my uncle and they fought. That's when I came out of the bathroom and saw everything. A few hours later, the police knocked on my door. My uncle opened the door, looked confused when he saw the policeman. When the officer said something, my uncle froze. The officer told him that the man who had broken into our house had actually been paid to kidnap my sister. My uncle was shocked, asked who had paid them. Then the officer told him it was that old lady who had come to congratulate my mother yesterday. Moreover, it was revealed that she had kidnapped and sold 4 other newborns to anonymous people before my sister was born. The old lady was fortunately arrested, and she and the man were sentenced to life in prison. But what would have happened if my uncle hadn't come out to drink water that night? I thank God every day for protecting my newborn sister. I'm now 17, and my sister is 6 now. We never told my father about what had happened that night.
One night, my mother was coming home from school on the bus. The bus wasn't full, but it had plenty of people already on it. One woman in particular got my mother's attention right away because she started staring at my mother's belly. My mother was pregnant at the time, but this woman would not look away, and she began getting closer and closer until it became extremely obvious that this woman was up to something. Sensing something was off, the girl sitting next to my mother also felt uneasy and asked if she wanted to switch seats. As time went by, the woman continued to stare at my mother's belly. That triggered my mom to remember a superstition. If someone has no philtrum, there is a high chance that they are not human. A philtrum is a vertical indentation in the middle area of the upper lip. In our country, there is a creature called a whack-whack. It is said to be a human during the day, but a monster at night, capable of transforming into a bird. These creatures often appear during festivals and offer people food, but legend says you should never eat what they offer you. My mom heard this story from her grandmother when she was very young, and it was widely believed in the area where they lived. Until my mother got off the bus, the woman continued staring at her, and after finally getting off, the woman followed her. My mom deliberately went the other way, but the woman followed close behind. My mother walked as fast as she could toward a crowded area and then quickly darted out to try to find a ride. Luckily, a taxi was there and a man provided her a ride to get out of the area. She finally got home and ran inside. My grandfather was waiting for her, and as soon as he saw her, he quickly wrapped his arms around her and picked her up. When my mom asked why, my grandfather said he had seen a big bird and knew that the creature was in the area. Nothing dangerous happened in the end, but after that, my mom often heard knocking on the window at random parts throughout the day. One day, my mom's friend, who lived in the neighborhood, came for a visit. She said she had seen a woman outside her window, someone who looked strange and lacked a philtrum. My mom realized that the woman she saw was exactly the same as the one that her friend had encountered.
I was 13 years old when this scary incident happened, and I lived on the 7th floor of an apartment building. I was coming home from school with my older brother, who was a year older than me. And when we got to the building, we tried to take the elevator, but it didn't work. so my brother told me to take the stairs. So I agreed, and he went up to the 7th floor faster than me. When I got to the 4th floor, I heard the sound of someone walking in high heels below me. I thought it was my neighbor who lived on the 4th floor, and I wanted to say hello, so I waited for her to come, but all I could hear was the sound of high heels getting closer. So I just went back upstairs. That night, I went to sleep because I had to go to school the next day. Then, I woke up in the middle of the night, sweating all over my body. I wondered why, but I thought it was just because it was hot, so I opened the window. I fell asleep again, but woke up again in the middle of the night. My whole body was drenched in sweat again. I was confused. I thought it was nothing, tried to go back to sleep, but I couldn't move. I was scared. I didn't want to open my eyes, but I saw something standing in the corner of the room. Then suddenly, the shadow started jumping at me. I screamed and tried to move, and I realized that I was literally in sleep paralysis. I'd seen on YouTube that moving your feet could help you get out of sleep paralysis, so I tried moving my feet, and luckily, it worked. I was so scared that I ran to my parents' room and woke my mom up. I cried, told her what had happened, and she started praying for me. And when I woke up the next day, I heard shocking news. My neighbor on the 4th floor had died for unknown reasons. She was wearing red high heels and a red dress. It was like she was going to a party, and her cat was found dead in the bathroom. I was shocked. That night, I woke up again in the middle of the night and couldn't move, and I saw something shocking right before my eyes. It was a woman in a red dress with a cat. I realized she was my neighbor on the 4th floor who had died the day before, but her face was very pale and her cat was covered in blood. I closed my eyes and I started praying. When I woke up the next morning, luckily, there was nothing in my room. I didn't tell my parents. I thought I was just hallucinating. But I really have so many questions. Why did this happen to me? And why did she come to my room?
Hey, I'm a really big fan of your channel, and I wanted to share a story my dad told me when I was younger. When my dad was around 16 years old, he was working on a ranch in Idaho. His job was to wrangle the horses that always ran off deep into the mountains. He would always use his own horse, Angel, to go and catch them. My dad said Angel was a funny horse because she always acted like a dog, very playful and full of energy. Every so often, when the horses ran off even deeper than normal, my dad would pass by an old, abandoned shack that looked like it had been falling apart for years. Every time he passed it, the hair on the back of his neck would stand up, and he'd get an eerie feeling. But it wasn't just him. Angel, his normally playful horse, would start bucking and snorting at the sight of the house. That really freaked my dad out. One day, while he was in town, he ran into another ranch worker who had been there for a few years. They started chatting over lunch, and since the guy knew the area so well, my dad asked, "What's the deal with that creepy rundown house?" As soon as he said that, the man's friendly smile changed into something else, a strange, unsettling grin. "You really want to know, kid?" the man asked. My dad said yes, and so the man told him this story. Back in the mid-1900s, a man named Frederick Beale lived in that house. Everyone just called him Beale. He didn't want to live near civilization, so he built the house in the mountains with his own two hands and lived there for many years. Each summer, Beale would come down into town, where the locals always expected him. He'd stock up on supplies before heading back into the mountains. He wasn't a mean old man. Actually, he was quite friendly, so the townspeople always looked forward to his visits. During the summer, he lived off the food he bought in town. In the winter, when heavy snow made the trip impossible, he hunted animals to survive. But then one year, the townspeople noticed something strange. Beale never came down for his usual summer visit. Days passed, and then weeks, and finally months, and people started to worry. After a while, the sheriff and a few deputies rode out on horseback to go and check on him. As they neared the house, they immediately knew something was wrong. The forest was too quiet, unnaturally quiet. When they arrived, they saw that everything was boarded up, and a foul stench hung in the air. After forcing the door open, they stepped into the living room, and what they found made their stomachs drop to the floor. Beale's rotting corpse lay on the ground, a single bullet hole in his head, a gun still held in his hand. It was obvious he had taken his own life, but why? The officers searched the house for clues and eventually found a crumpled up note in his coat pocket. The handwriting was messy and uneven, but they were able to read it after looking closer. The note read, "Help me, God! I've gone blind!" The town was shocked. The old man had lost his eyesight. With no way to make it back to town and no way to hunt, He must have realized there was no hope, or he didn't have any. Rather than starving to death, he made a choice. After hearing that story, my dad swore that every time he passed by that house, it felt like someone was watching him.